Hello everyone. I've just realised I'm wearing this shirt to subconsciously remind myself what the flipping hell I'm meant to talk about. Wonder if hell is a word on YouTube that gets demonetized. I'm not there yet, so I don't really need to worry too much about it. But I've just stopped myself saying the F-bomb. So, anyway, right. I've got a lot to talk about. This is kind of like an end-of-year roundup, but it's from a podcast perspective. It's not necessarily about me. It's just about what I've built and how I managed to sort of maintain what I've built. But one thing that I'm going to say just quickly as a disclaimer, because this looks like I'm sat in a car talking to myself, hyping myself up, blowing my own trumpet, as it were. All I do, right, in ABP is I just ask people if they can come on the podcast. I just get in people's, notifications. I just sort of prod at people. Not to the point where I'm annoying, I hope. But I'll comment on people's Facebook groups, Facebook pages, Instagrams, put something in the comments of their latest post, comment stuff on YouTube. If I can get an email address out of someone, I'm away. But if you want to start a podcast, I think I've said this for like 12 months now, just do it. Just do it and just see what happens and ask questions, and you'll be amazed at the amount of people that are willing to give their email address out if you can get past that sort of first line of defense. But yeah, just do it. You got nothing to lose. This has been a crazy year for the podcast. It's grown a lot. But before I get into the podcast stuff, I just want to quickly say to people, calm down. just take a second and just exist. Just be. Because I've just been to Aldi, as you can see in the back. You got some shopping bags. And oh my God, it is like nothing I've ever experienced in my entire life. There's people like ripping stuff off the shelves, buying, 6 of something when 2 would probably do. Just absolute anarchy. It's like the purge. Just take a second, make a shopping list, and just calm down. Just exist for 2 minutes. Just exist. Because I've just seen people spending 120 quid, 150 quid. This in the back, 36 quid. Just buy what you need. And I get it. People might be coming over for dinner. The shops are going to be shut for one day next week. But holy hell. Just think about it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not here to preach to people. I'm not here to force a way of life onto people. But this leads me quite nicely into my next point. Because I kind of mentioned this on another video with Steve Vai and Devon Townsend. On the Devon Townsend podcast, he started interviewing people. Steve Vai said something really profound, which I was kind of like, all right, mate, it's easy for you to say because you're at the top of your game. He said, stress is very man-made and very artificial. And just allow yourself to feel a little bit uncomfortable and allow yourself to feel a little bit agitated. But that can very, very quickly turn into a lifestyle choice of living in a city, living, way above your means, and just calm down, as I've said about 17 times now. Just think about what you need to do, write a list, and just don't let anything else railroad you. Don't let anything else sort of distract you. I know it's easy for me to say. I get very distracted in my life. I'm always thinking, today's Sunday. and it's 2:19 p.m. And I'm always thinking, like, do I need to go to a supermarket? What time's it shut? 4 o'clock. Oh my god, okay. But the only advice I can give you in this regard, and then I'm going to get onto the podcast stuff. So thanks if you are listening to this and watching this so far. Is just, how do I say this? How do I say this in a constructive way? Just forget stuff and just say, right, is this the best use of my time right now? Is anything else on my list time sensitive? And if it is time sensitive, go and do it. If it's not time sensitive, then allow it to wait for 48 hours. I understand some things bubble up and things change and priorities change, but just let yourself, turn your phone's data off at night. Wake up in the morning with a completely blank screen. Turn your notifications off on your system as well, on your Android phone or your iPhone. Just don't let other people determine what your priority is for the day. Obviously, work is a thing, so that's literally you being told what to do by your manager. But just allow yourself to forget things. Allow yourself to make mistakes, because being stressed all the time, man, it's not fun. Your immune system gets worse, and everything just no one lives life well at 300 miles an hour. And I've seen people do it and they get so burnt out and so bent out of shape and so husk of a human being. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So that's 7 minutes. So next 7 minutes, roughly, I'm going to just talk about the podcast, what I've done this year, who I've enjoyed filming with, 3 people that I didn't enjoy filming with. So stay tuned for that if you want some gossip. But in general, it's been a fantastic year for ABP. I've tried to adopt a system where I record every other week. And I think that's worked really well. Because otherwise it's just this, what I was just saying, 300 miles an hour. Just I don't get paid to do the podcast. I know some people might think I get paid to do it. I don't. I do it because I enjoy it. And if I don't enjoy it, I need to stop immediately. I need to let 4 guests down straight away. Which I don't want to do. Because, at some point maybe this will get monetized. If people sub as well, that will help the monetization goal on YouTube. I do get paid for sponsors, so people like Go Energy and Shanty Spirit. If people buy products from them, which I highly recommend you do because they are fantastic products. Energy drink is next level, sustainable energy that doesn't give you a crash. Spiced rum and seaweed vodka that is just, it just tastes different. It just is on another palette, I suppose. You can go and buy Smirnoff, get the job done, but it's not meant for getting absolutely smashed on Shanty. But yeah, it's not the most affordable vodka in the world in terms of comparison to something like Smirnoff. It's kind of the same sort of price point as Grey Goose, but you won't regret it. Just use my code and get some money off. You deserve it. So yeah, I get paid for that. I get paid some commission, but other than that, I just do this because I enjoy it. So as of 2 days from now, I'm on my last episode of 2023, and that's with Cherry from Defences. I need to still send her Zoom links, actually. I'll do it later. I don't need to do it right now. I need to do it later because tomorrow, Tuesday, at 8 p.m. is when we record. So I've got time. See? So yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking to her. I've been a fan of Defences for a while, so it's nice to sit down and talk to her. Hopefully it will be a nice flowy conversation. So yeah, so the 3... Should I do negative first? Yeah, let's do negative first, because they're in my head. So, I have recorded nearly 165 episodes, I think. That might be wrong. Some episodes are like bonus episodes. Some episodes are just me going, hey guys, hope everyone's well, stay tuned. So, Jake Crawford. This feels weird. This feels like I'm literally calling people out, and I'm not. I'm just saying. So, Jake Crawford, Morgan Richards, and Mindset by Dave. So let's start from the beginning. So Jake Crawford is the ex-bass player of Prestameko. Genuinely one of my favourite bands, which is why I think this one hit quite hard. He used to be in a band called Coda. Some of my mates know him quite personally. So I thought he'd be a laugh. I thought he'd be a bit more up for it. He's now in a band called Unpeople. And I literally said to him, like, do you want me to write some notes for this episode, or do you just want to talk? And he's like, I'm happy to talk, man. I'm easy. No, you're not. And he messaged me on Instagram a couple of days after we'd recorded saying, when's the episode going to go up? Which is always like, oh, it'll go up when it goes up. Bear with, I've got life. So that kind of put me on the back foot. And then he was like, I've decided that I want to listen back to it before it goes up. And I was like, all right, okay, whatever. So I sent him a link, and then I unpublished the episode. So I don't think people realise on like Spotify and stuff's either like private or it's public. There's no middle bit. Like on YouTube, you can set a video to be unlisted, and you can send someone like a link, and it's only on, you know, that person that sees the link can only see it, and it's not on YouTube. And he, to be fair, he listened to the recording the whole way through, and he said, I don't think this necessarily represents what I'm about. And I thought to myself, well, that's a bit of a weird thing to say, because I've literally given an hour of my time talking to you for you to basically promote anything you want. So what do we do now? And he was like, I'm happy for you to put the episode up, but I'm not going to promote it. And I thought, well, that's a bit rubbish. Like, we've both kind of wasted our time. If, like, the best podcasts, right, from an amateur independent standpoint, which is myself, the best podcasts do this. You've got the guest, you've got the host. When you both promote together, the episode absolutely bangs. I've done, 700-800 listens on some of my episodes on Spotify. I've done over 1,000 views on some of my videos on YouTube, and it's because the guest has a massive following, and they retweet it. They put a post up on Instagram. They put a Facebook status up. They put something on their community tab on YouTube. Without that, I'm just a guy with about 70 Spotify followers. So I can kind of make a bit of a noise. I can go, check this out, guys. Oh, I'm so happy that I recorded with Brendan from Waiters. Whereas Waiters have got, like 47,000 Twitter followers. So they'll make a bigger bang. Without that makes me a bit like, like I've now got like some proper editors on board, and they work tirelessly for me to make sure that the quality of the episode is the absolute best it can be with the recordings that they've been given. And for people to just go, I'm not promoting it, it's like, oh man. Like, I've been in bands where venues haven't promoted the gigs, promoters have been terrible, and it feels like that a little bit. Like, I don't know. But anyway, so that's one. Mindset by Dave was a Twitch streamer. Probably still is a Twitch streamer, to be fair. I don't follow him anymore. Talking about mental health, talking about sort of human behavior, the human condition, how to deal with stress, how to deal with priorities, how to look after your own mental health. And I said to him, as a teacher of mental health, how do you look after your mental health? Because it's kind of like a builder constantly working on everyone else's buildings all the time and not looking after your own house. And I thought that episode was really good. I thought I did quite well, because I don't usually interview people like that. And he just didn't promote it. He just didn't promote it. And considering he's on Twitch, like, all he has to say on a Twitch stream is, check this out, guys. I've put a link in the chat, and, hopefully some people will residually listen to it. He just didn't bother. It's one of the worst episode performing wise I've ever done, but it was a great chat. So you get this weird like, oh fucking hell, like duality of like, I really enjoyed talking to you, but like, how do we, like, this is a conversation I've recorded and I want it to hit other people because I thought it was a good conversation, and I can only do so much. I do think my community is growing. I do think this will get alleviated at some point. Who else? I was called someone else out as well, didn't I? Morgan Richards, Sappenin. So Morgan Richards is a journalist. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that he is busy. He must be a busy boy. He does a lot of the back end, behind the scenes stuff within Sappenin, but he has literally ignored all of my emails since I've recorded with him. So it's like, you've got a massive community of people. Like, you and Sean Smith have built something that's absolutely awesome, but you've just completely like, cheers for letting me speak, mate. Bye. Just gone. He's like, he's moved to another island. Like he's grabbed his passport and he's fucked off. And it's just like, oh God, like when you were starting your podcast, you must have felt that this was like not a good thing, you know? So why are you doing it to other people? And I genuinely like Morgan, and it's really quite hard for me to sort of slag people off like this. But I just like to be honest. So on the flip side of that, that's the 3 negative people. 3 positive people. Oh my God. I have had some fucking banging guests on this year. I've had some really nice people. I think most people that I've spoken to since I've started this have actually been really nice. Some of them are, you know, a bit like, you know, I've got 3 more recordings after this, like bang, 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 bang. But, you know, you got people like MC Lars, just the nicest guy. He sent me a fucking digital birthday card the other day. I'm like, not a birthday card, so a Christmas card. Yeah, 3 months late if you want to send me a birthday card. But yeah, just a lovely human being. And I wish that there was more people like that, but we all know that that's not the case sometimes. Right, let's wrap this up. So the 3 people that I've really, really enjoyed recording, and they're worth a mention, are Digitizer. Paul and Sanya are fucking awesome. I really like them. I've luckily met them. They put me on their VIP list to see Digitizer live at Harrow Arts Centre. I think that was in August. It's all a blur. I put a video up on that. Check it out. Ed Trott recorded some of it and edited it as well. I thought it was quite good, so thank you for that. Yeah, I really wasn't up for that episode. I just had such low energy for that episode. As soon as they joined the Zoom call, I was like, yes, fuck yes. Like, because I haven't recorded with Sanya as well as Paul before. I've only recorded with Paul on audio, I think, not video. And they're just so like, sort of, what's the word, like ambient and like naturally just quite smiley and positive, and they want the best out of the conversation and they want everything to kind of rise up together, and it's really nice. And they promoted the fuck out of that episode and it did really well. So this is what I'm saying. Che from Casualties Are Cool solo project. That was from a Facebook post that I think she put something like, I'm really excited to announce that I'm doing a UK tour for The Crowned. And these are the tour dates. And I commented on it saying I would really like to do some press with you. Hit me up if you're interested. And then I messaged her as well to kind of harp that back to her. And I said, I'd really like to speak to you because, you know, you've got network like Devon Townsend. You've got people like Anna Kay. I can't pronounce her surname. And I'd really like to chat with you because you seem like quite a sort of joyful, curious human being. And we had a fantastic conversation. We've stayed in touch. And it looks like there might be another Casualties Are Cool album coming out. So, but yeah, thank you to Che as well for putting me on the Bristol VIP list. I don't want this to sound like I'm just like, oh, this person put me on their guest list, so they're a nice person. I never ever expect people to do that for me. Ever. Like, I can't stand that side of, like, the press world where everyone's just after shit for fucking free. Really, really pisses me off. I've been in promotions. I know what it's like in events. I know what it's like. You know, people won't go to a gig unless they get in for free. Fuck that, man. Fuck that. But yeah, this is starting to become quite a long video, so I'm just trying to get to the point. Che was fantastic. I was quite surprised that she didn't have a full band, but I suppose that's a financial implication. But she was just such a nice human being. And like I said, we are staying in touch. Her guitarist, when she plays live, is actually her manager and husband, Sam Chadwick. So yeah, I'm going to keep in touch with them, see what happens. The third person was Styx, who is the drummer of Raiders, who I haven't had anything off. Haha! And also an honourable mention, because without this person I wouldn't have spoken to Styx, I don't think, in my head. Sean Smith from the Blackout, Sappenin, Raiders, DJ, all sorts of shit. He's always doing something. He's trying to get into wrestling and comedy, I think, at the moment as well, as the time of talking. Absolute fucking legend. Such a genuine joy to speak to Sean. I'm not the biggest fan of the Blackout, but he is a very, very funny individual. He's always got an axe to grind. He's always got something to moan about. And I love speaking to him. I thought he was great. He had so much stuff to say. It was very sort of back and forth. You can tell that he's got his own podcast. Styx as well. And just a fucking legend. I said to him, you know, do you want the questions ahead of time or do you want them to be a surprise on the night? And he was like, yeah, surprise. I'll talk about anything, mate. I don't give a fuck. And they're just two really warm people and two really decent episodes. And it shows you what these things can be if people are just a bit more open and a bit more sort of honest and just they wear their heart on their sleeve or something like that, you know, and they're just up for a bit of crack. I keep hearing that from Blind Boy, crack. It's an Irish term. But yeah, just don't come on the podcast if you're not up for it, because it doesn't benefit anyone. If you are just looking to promote the new thing that you've just done, do you know what? I'm going to actually make a rule now that I don't want to speak to people like that anymore. Yeah. I don't just want to be a mule. I want it to be mutually beneficial for everyone. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's a secret. Maybe that's why I've felt a little bit up and down in the last few months. Because people are just like, oh, I want to promote my new album. Oh, I want to promote my new book. Oh, I want to blah, 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 blah. But if I don't want to speak to you, I don't want this to sound like I'm full of ego and I'm a sadomasochist and a narcissist and other words that end in cyst. But yeah, podcasting's weird because you're constantly shining a spotlight on other people. You're not really sort of talking. But I am also the fixture of ABP. I am the face of ABP. You know, you've got people like John, Marty, Evie, my sister. Casper occasionally pops in now and then, doesn't he? And people get mental. People seem to love Casper. He's natural. He's a natural, that boy. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why it's just been a bit... Some of the episodes, like I've just mentioned, free, they've just been a bit like, I'm kind of on a train and I'm just like, yeah. I'm not interested, maybe. That's the problem. And it makes for a poor conversation that people don't want to share. Oh, I've had an epiphany whilst recording. But yeah, let me know what you liked this year. Got people like Angry Bootneck, did fucking crazy numbers. Blue Van Man, planning to get him back on in the new year. Ben Bulks, he's kind of my part-time editor as well. He's a legend. Angry Bootneck, speaking of, this is a bit of a sort of behind the curtain moment, but I should have an opportunity to put him and Van Man Talks together to have a debate on the podcast. Because neither of them have their own podcast, so I've said, if you want to use mine as a stage, then do it. And I think that will do quite well. And it'll be quite an interesting conversation to listen back to. But yeah, this whole year has been a lot more than I prepared myself for. I've had some really difficult conversations this year with people from a sort of promotional review advert perspective. I don't need to name anyone. But a lot of my time has gone towards putting out those fires that I planned to talk to. Like, I didn't plan for that. And I don't want to plan for that again, because it was just a shit situation, and it just meant that one of our videos that was meant to go out 2 weeks ago didn't. But yeah, I hope you're all enjoying it. I will probably do another video in the new year talking about all the bands that I've seen this year, because I've seen some really out there bands this year. Most notably N-Dubs. That's been a bit of a weird moment. But yeah, I hope you're good. This is a very long video now, so thank you for watching. If you are still watching, thank you so much. It's been a really net positive year. I am genuinely really enjoying this, but yeah, maybe I just need to focus on the people that I'm actually inspired by and I idolize, and maybe that's how it gets better in terms of quality, because I want it to be quality, not quantity, because when it's just quantity, it's just like a meat sausage grinder just churning out all sorts of shit all the time, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think I've done quite well in this video as well to not swear too much, because I'm trying to watch my swearing a little bit. It's like when I record, I want to like pretend that there's a kid in the back of the car, not in the boot. Anyway, what a note to leave on. Ben, you tosspot. Bye, everyone.